Hi, today I'll be talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which is a universally loved movie. You could see the reviews, everything. No one is really talking bad about it. Maybe some minor flaws, but overall it's a great movie, and I'll talk about that today. Some reviewers that I've watched, they preface the movie with saying it wasn't perfect, uh, but I'm gonna say it's damn near perfect. It really is. I can find minor flaws, but they don't ruin the experience. It's just almost a 10 out of 10. Actually, I would probably say a 10 out of 10, and you will see why I want to talk about it. So let's start with some points I made. This movie is how a multiverse movie should be portrayed. Not Spider-Man No Way Home, which is a great movie by the way, but just this one did it better. And not Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which they kind of make fun of in the movie. They don't make fun of it, but they mention it. I think of it as a making fun of it because it is a bad movie. It's actually decent, but bad. Anyways, and I don't know how Flash is going to be. I've heard good things about it. I've heard kind of mixed things about it, but we will see. And I know for sure it's not going to be better than this, but we will see how that goes with multiverse movies. So the characters. Spot is funny, but what makes him great is his transition from being a goofy kind of character to an evil, scary character that you actually think is threatening. And that is great how they did that. Even though he wasn't in the movie that much, he was in it good enough. And I feel like he's going to be more in it in the next movie, which is great. Hobby, whatever his name was, the British dude, and the Indian Spider-Man. I forgot his name. I'm sorry. They're really good, perfect comedic timings, and I think they're better than the other Spider-Man that we've seen in the last movie. But I'll get to comparing those movies later. Unlike Marvel, the comedic parts don't ruin the tension and emotion of the movie, which is great. That is one of the biggest flaws with Marvel. They start off well, but then the comedic parts kind of bleeded into it too much and kind of ruined the tension. With a good example such as Thor, one of the worst Marvel movies, but I'll talk about it some other time. Gwen's story at the start of the movie was a great new addition to her character and adding more character development to her. Her story does kind of end with her dad in this movie, but I feel like it will be continued even further in the next movie and kind of intertwined with Miles' story, which I will get into later. And yeah, it was great, and I like that she was more in this movie because she was a great character in the previous one. Peter B. Parker. I liked him a lot in the first movie. Because he was in it more than this one. He wasn't in it that much in this movie, but he still was great. He was a great mentor role. I liked how he had a kid, and my favorite scene with him, probably even one of my favorite scenes in the movie, probably top three, we'll say, is when he said that Miles is the reason why he has a kid. That really hit because along with the other themes in the movie with Miles, which I will get into after this theme is really great one. It's a small one, but it's still great how Miles influenced him to have a kid and showed that he is a great mentor and what he could be as a mentor. And it was just phenomenal and great. I like that writing. And side note, I like the voice actor Jake Johnson, I believe his name is. I liked him in the TV show New Girl, which I'm obsessed with. I might even watch that later on the TV. But yeah, he's a great actor, great voice actor, and I just like his character of being a not knowing what's gonna happen kind of guy, clumsy guy, but having it all together at the same time, and trying his best. Now Miles, the main character, the man of the hour, his movie, which can be argued is kind of Gwen's movie too. They kind of split roles in this movie, but anyways, that's not the point. Miles' character developed in the first half with his parents and him struggling between being a superhero and personal life is great. It's been done a good amount of times, but this movie gives you a great twist on it and doesn't make it some cliche kind of bouncing those two type of things kind of way. It does remind me of Spider-Man 2, but still, it is great in its own way, and in no way am I saying it's bad just a rip-off, because it's not. It's very phenomenal. And the action in the movie, the second half of the movie, does pick up the pace from the first half, but I am not going to complain about the first half being slow. I've heard that complaint. That's a flaw that I've heard a lot. But I think the second half kind of makes up for the first half, and even if you wish to say the first half was slow, it was slow for a good reason, and we might even see that payoff in the third movie that's coming out next year. But yeah, it was a great addition to the movie, and it didn't ruin the movie for me. The end twist was great. I didn't expect it. I don't think anyone expected it. It was a great twist. And another big complaint, I think this is the biggest complaint I've heard about the movie, is that the end just ended abruptly. And I see that point, but I kind of disagree because for this being a part one of a two, I think they ended it in the right time because you can't really end it earlier than they did, and you can't end it later than they did, and because there was already tension being built. So I think they ended it at a good time, a time that is best for them, is best for the movie, right? So I like that ending. Uh, and now that I've gotten most of the review done, there's a lot more to talk about, but this movie's just great. And I might even do another review on this movie, comparing it to other Spider-Man movie. But moving on. The writer's attention to detail in this movie. I heard in another video, it was actually a popular YouTuber, Jadion, and how he talked about how he heard that in the first movie, if you watch it again, you could see the spider that bit Miles Morales glitching. And at first, when you see it in the first movie, you don't really think about it. But then when you realize it from the second movie and what the context of the second movie, you think, how did they? The level of attention to detail the writers give this movie shows that they love this movie and they can just put so much care in it, and it really shows to the audience. And unlike Marvel movies, which kind of feel like cash grabs, like the TV shows especially, I really like how they really care about this movie and really add details, especially with the cameos in this movie, which I haven't even talked about yet, but it really talks for itself. The cameos are great. They didn't really ruin the movie, but anyways. Yeah, just the writer's attention to detail just makes me love this movie 10 times more than I already do, and I really appreciate that. I would say that this is the best Spider-Man movie. It's still debatable, still a little bit debatable, but I have a inkling, a really a good edge on this, and I would say that this is the best Spider-Man movie ever created. And I don't think this is a unpopular opinion because I've heard people say similar things to that. So yeah, I would say it's the best Spider-Man movie. Put it on hold, not officially, but I would say it's the best. And I would think it's better than Spider-Man 2, which I think people would agree is the best Spider-Man movie, but I think it's better than Spider-Man 2. They kind of have the same themes of, as I said earlier, balancing the personal life and the superhero life, but I just think this is better. I don't know why. Maybe because this is more recent, and I was too young when Spider-Man 2 came out. I was a kid, but I think this is the best one, and it's debatable. I could see both points, but I'd say it's the best one. And it's definitely better than No Way Home, because what I realized is that No Way Home is only good because of nostalgia, right? There are some good moments in the movie. It is a good movie, but I would say it's only mainly good because of nostalgia of Andrew and Toby. Maybe an unpopular opinion, but that's my belief. And another point I would like to make is that watching this movie a second time makes it better, the more because it just feels better. It feels like you're retaining more information and you can actually focus on the story instead of the cameos. Watching No Way Home, I think it makes it worse and it makes it a little bit more boring, to me at least. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Now, the final point that I would like to make, which is better, right? A great debate that I've heard, and I've heard both sides, and I agree with both sides. But which is better, Into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse? I would say, with a little bit of hesitation, Across the Spider-Verse is better. Even though it's bigger and grander in scheme and you would expect it to be less personal, I think it's more personal than the last movie. The story's more personal, especially with the first half of the second movie building up to the personal side. And yeah, I just think it's much bigger, which is not always better, but in this case it's better. And the story is just more personal to Miles and his family, and Gwen is more in it and her family and all of that. And I just think it's better villain too. Miles. Well, I wouldn't say Miguel is a villain, but he's an anti-hero and he is portrayed as a villain, and I think he's way better than Kingpin. So yeah, I just think every aspect of this movie is better and improved. Not that the first one's bad at all. It's very great, but it is improved, and I like the second one better. Alright, that is the end of my review, and I hope to see you guys later. Subscribe, and peace.